Hello, awards watchers. I'm Gold Derby senior editor Daniel Montgomery here with my colleagues Denton Davidson and Marcus James Dixon. We are here to discuss the Emmy nominations, our predictions for those, going over Gold Derby's odds, as well as who we're predicting. We're all I'm entirely right, of course. We'll go through the drama categories in this discussion. We have separate discussions on comedy and on movie and limited, so you'll get to see a lot more of us, between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So let's get started with Best Drama Series, where there will be 8 nomination slots, and in our odds, Succession is in the lead, and it's followed by The White Lotus, The Last of Us, Better Call Saul, The Crown, Yellow Jackets, House of the Dragon, and Andor. Marcus, what do you think is getting nominated in this category, and who you have winning?
I'll start with who I have winning because this category, I think everyone that has anything to do with predictions knows that this is probably one of the easier categories of the year. I mean, Succession is probably 100% lock. I mean, I say that, and now obviously it's probably going to lose, and I'm going to look foolish. But if you're betting money on the Emmys, I would bet money on Succession winning. And I have all of the first 7 that you mentioned in my predictions, but that 8th slot is really interesting to me because our odds have Andor. I had Yellowstone this morning. I took out Yellowstone and I put in The Handmaid's Tale, which is way down in 14th place. The Handmaid's Tale is an Emmy favorite. It gets in every year. It dominated in that first season. But other shows that people are predicting are Bad Sisters, The Mandalorian, The Old Man, Slow Horses, The Boys. The Boys got in last time it was eligible. So there's a lot of options for that 8th slot. And I'm curious what you guys have.
Well, I think we were influencing each other a little bit because we were having a discussion offline. And I think both of us said Yellowstone, and then both of us switched to The Handmaid's Tale. So we were looking at it, and it was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, The Handmaid's Tale, like, it did get in for Best Drama Series the last time it was eligible. So why are we just forgetting it? Because it got very positive reviews. It's had a great response this season. And for me, if I can't decide about that 8th slot, I had Yellowstone in there, and they just haven't done well at the Emmys at all. I think they've gotten 1 nomination for production design. And then another interesting show to watch out for could be Bad Sisters, but that's another one it's not proven. But a lot of people are sort of getting on that Bad Sisters bandwagon, and we could see nominations come through for that show, the writing, the acting. I mean, it's all top notch. So that's another show that could sneak into this race. But I'm going with the odds. I think this is an easy category to call when the nominations come out. I think we can all be safe to say Succession will win. But those last few slots in the nominations could be a little tricky. But right now I have The Handmaid's Tale getting in. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out.
It was a good season too. This last season of Handmaids, it was one of their best.
Yeah, I don't have Handmaids in there. I do have this exact top 8. I am skeptical about Andor though, because it's going up against The Mandalorian. I don't think they both get in, but who do they choose? Mandalorian's already proven. It's been nominated before. Andor is new. They could split the Star Wars vote, so who knows? But I'm not getting fooled by the Yellowstone train again. No.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting Yellowstone.
There's so much Disney Plus content about the Star Wars and superheroes, and it's like, are people getting lost in that a little, because it's a little overwhelming to keep track of? So what show are they going to pick? And there could be some vote splitting among those shows that could hurt a significant number of them.
My dream scenario is that both of those shows split the vote, and Star Trek Picard is the sci-fi show.
Let's say my 100% lock Succession to win does not win. What do you think will be the one that upsets it? What do you have in second? I have the White Lotus in second.
I
Just
think for
because
sure the White Lotus. Like
it won.
to me, that's not even close. I think that's as easy of a second place as Succession is first.
Yeah, it won 10 Emmys last year when it was in limited series, so we know they love it.
And The Last of Us just has too many zombies. I don't know what they're gonna love. I think what they're gonna love most about the show is the episode with no zombies that we'll talk about later.
So let's move on to Best Drama Actress, where in our odds, the front runner is Sarah Snook for Succession, followed by Melanie Linsky, Yellow Jackets, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Imelda Staunton for The Crown, Emma Darcy, House of the Dragon, and Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale, speaking of which. I have 5 of these 6. I don't have Emma Darcy in there. I'm not sure if House of the Dragon is going to have as much juice as Game of Thrones did, because Game of Thrones, it took a while to really, really catch on with the Emmys. So in that spot, I've got Juliette Lewis. I've got Yellow Jackets pulling in another actor. What do you think? And I have Sarah Snook winning as well. So what do you think, Dan?
Juliette Lewis is interesting because she definitely has an important role in Yellow Jackets. I don't want to give a spoiler away, but I mean, it's definitely a big moment for her at the end of season 2. So there could be love for her there. The cast of Yellow Jackets it's such an ensemble that I think it's hard for so many of them to identify as lead. I'm a little confused as why there's so many leads, because they really do spread it around them a lot, just because there's 2 timelines. I mean, you've got adults and the youngers, so it's tough to split those actresses up into lead and supporting, but we'll see how that goes. I think Melanie Linsky for sure will be getting in. I do have Sarah Snook winning. I think it was the smartest move she ever did, moving from supporting to lead, and getting out of Jennifer Coolidge's way. And then I have Bella Ramsey, Imelda Staunton. I just never count out The Crown. You never know what can happen with this show. I mean, it could just be another windfall for all we know. The Emmys clearly love it. And then I do have Emma Darcy, but although I'm skeptical of that, and then Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale. Just another former winner who had another great season. And if I'm going to put it in series, I have to have her in my actress nominees. But that's another one where if Bad Sisters comes through, then you've got Sharon Horgan. She's got a lot of support at Gold Derby as well.
It's been interesting watching Sarah Snook rise in Gold Derby's odds. If you go to the line graphs and our odds pages, you can see her just climbing since she moved over to lead a month or 2 ago. And now she's at number 1. And I think she's going to win. I hope she wins, but I could see Melanie Linsky taking this. And it's interesting what you said about it's such an ensemble show, and she's a lead when she could go in supporting. Same with Emma Darcy. Emma was only in half the episodes, and they are a lead for House of the Dragon. I have Emma getting in. I have Imelda Staunton getting in. I have Bella Ramsey getting in. My 6th place, Helen Mirren. I could see 1923 getting 0 nominations in every category except for 1. I could see Helen being the one and only category for the show, even though it deserves a ton, especially Below the Line. Such a beautiful show. But I mean, Sarah Snook, I think this is hers to lose. And this season too, she was a lead this season. So she's not like, playing the game in order to get a nomination and a win. She actually deserves this nomination.
We should also mention Kerry Russell in The Diplomat. She's ranked 7th, and that's sort of a late breaking Netflix show. So what impact is that show going to have at the Emmys? Is that going to see some sort of surge? We'll see.
It took her
I'm not so sure about Kerry
to get in for the Americans. She only got in once or twice for that, right?
No, I think she got in a few times, like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, the Americans was a really slow burn, and I think a lot of people are predicting Kerry Russell for The Diplomat like it's the 7th season of the Americans. But I don't know that the momentum is still there for her as an actress. That she'll carry the show. We'll see what happens there. But moving on to Best Drama Actor. Speaking of Succession, we've got 3 Succession actors predicted for a nomination, although we have a 3-way tie at 9-2 odds for first place in our odds. Jeremy Strong for Succession, Kieran Culkin for Succession, and Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, trying to get Better Call Saul its elusive first ever Emmy. And then you've got Pedro Pascal, The Last of Us, Brian Cox from Succession, despite his limited screen time, and Jeff Bridges for The Old Man, rounding out those top 6. Then on the bubble, you've got Paddy Considine for House of the Dragon, Diego Luna for Andor, and Harrison Ford for 1923, speaking of which, Helen Mirren's co-star. So which way are you going with this, Marcus?
As soon as Kieran Culkin announced he was going lead, I switched over to him. And then I think that was about midway through the season, maybe toward the end of the season. And then once the church and state episode aired, the funeral episode where he tries to give a speech at his father's funeral, and he just starts blubbering. I'm like, oh yeah, he's got this. I say that a lot, I realize. He's got this, she's winning, whatever. But I do have Kieran winning this. I have Bob Odenkirk in second. I remember saying last year was Bob's best chance ever of winning because the final episodes were airing at that time, and he lost to Lee Jung-jae. There was a Succession vote split between Jeremy and Brian. So it's possible there will be a Succession vote split. We have 3 now that I think all 3 are getting in. But if there is Bob going to take advantage of that, or may it be Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us? I mean, this is the year of Pedro. He's also in Mandalorian and Saturday Night Live. Could he get 2 nominations in lead? I don't think that's allowed. But he's gonna get 2 because he's also in SNL.
I just don't see Bob Odenkirk happening, but I will say that if it does happen, the audience will erupt. I mean, it would be a huge moment, and there would be a chance. There could be a chance for a vote split. These are 3 strong actors. Even though Brian Cox is like a guest actor that just forced his way into lead, there is enough love for someone that is a veteran of that stature. He's going to get votes. And Jeremy Strong has won before, and then Kieran Culkin is sort of the season favorite. And that's why I think he wasn't leading in the odds for so long. But as people are watching the season and catching up, I think people are like, he really just deserves to win for this season. I have all 3 of them getting in for Succession, and then Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, and then I do have Paddy Considine, but I'm not certain about that. Again, we've talked about not really knowing where the House of Dragon is going to stand. The one person that's in 10th place right now that I've had my eye on, Matthew Rice in Perry Mason. He was nominated for the first season of Perry Mason. I don't think he's someone that can be completely overlooked. HBO certainly can't be overlooked. So it's something to watch out for if someone is not sure who to put in that final spot. He's been there before. He's not unliked by Emmy voters.
I'm worried
I've got him in my 6th slot.
I'm worried about Jeff Bridges, who I'm not predicting, but he got in at the Globes, Critics' Choice, and SAG Awards, if I'm not mistaken. So even if The Old Man doesn't click with voters, they may just see his name on the ballot and go, oh yeah, I'm voting for Jeff. Jeff.
Well, moving on to Best Drama Supporting Actress, which unlike the comedy supporting actresses, these categories will have 8 nominees. Leading in our odds is Jennifer Coolidge, The White Lotus. Thank you. We're done talking about this category. No. She's followed by Rhea Seehorn for Better Call Saul, Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, Aubrey Plaza for The White Lotus as well, J. Smith Cameron for Succession, Christina Ricci for Yellow Jackets, Megan Fahey for The White Lotus, and Carol Burnett for Better Call Saul. I have I have the top seven. I'm actually predicting Carol Burnett of all people to be snubbed
Mhm.
for just an avalanche of Succession. I put Justine Lupin. What do you
Oh,
think, Denton?
That's interesting. I'm actually, this is boring. I'm going with the top eight. I have them slightly shuffled, but I do think those shows are going to have a stronghold on Emmy voters, and I do think those eight will come out on top. Though I've just been looking through things though, and there are some interesting options. If you scroll further down the list, you've got Ann Dowd and Yvonne Strahovski for The Handmaid's Tale, and both have done exceptional work. Ann Dowd, we know, is extremely respected by the Academy, so that's another option. Yeah, this is tough. You got a few House of the Dragon stars in there. But I'm just going with the odds on this one.
if I was a voter, I'd vote for Yvonne Strahovski. This was her best season. Yeah, and she's on the run with June. She's having babies in barns. Like this is the stuff you win Emmys for. And I'm just wondering, did it air too long ago? I don't know. I hope to see her in here. I am predicting Olivia Cook in seventh place for House of the Dragon. She killed it on that show. I can't wait to see what she does in season two. And I have Carol Burnett in eighth place, dangling on there by a thread. But I mean, this is the Jennifer Coolidge category
Yeah, is anyone not predicting Jennifer Coolidge
to
to win
win.
this?
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot of people would love to see Ray Seahorn win. Again, she's just like Bob Odenkirk. Even Carol Burnett wants her to win. She's said in multiple interviews. So I don't know how many votes Carol Burnett would pull away from her if she were in that category.
I
I
don't
feel like
imagine how
Rhea Seehorn
anyone
in second. Oh, go ahead.
I don't imagine how anyone would watch Better Call Saul and in the winning round say, I'm voting for Carol Burnett to win for this role. It's just not, it wasn't that big of a role. It was, I mean, she's literally a guest star, but she had to go into supporting because she was in too many episodes.
I feel like people that would vote for her would be lazy voters who didn't watch anything and
Yeah,
just vote for Carol Burnett,
right.
Yeah,
which
I
I
feel
would
like
imagine
Rhea
would be a small
Seehorn.
number.
Yeah, I feel like Rhea Seehorn in second place is a lot of hope dicting, which is not to say that she won't get nominated, but the fact that she's ranked this high surprises me, given that she only just got her first nomination last year. So,
And she got two
for
last
years,
year.
yeah, yeah, and for years she could not get arrested by the Emmys. So, like, I'm not so like if she gets snubbed, I wouldn't be entirely surprised. I do have her getting in comfortably, but she's been out of this category before.
I think collectively Gold Derby has J. Smith Cameron too low. I think fifth place is too low for her. I think she's probably third, maybe even second if Ray's not in second, just because of the Succession love. And I mean, her character Jerry is one of the favorites.
Yeah. Moving on to Best Drama Supporting Actor. We've got the defending champ leading our odds, Matthew Macfadyen for Succession. He's followed by Giancarlo Esposito for Better Call Saul, F. Murray Abraham for The White Lotus, Alan Ruck for Succession, Nicholas Braun for Succession, Matt Smith for House of the Dragon, Alexander Skarsgård for Succession, and John Lithgow for The Old Man. I'm all over the place in this category. I don't have John Lithgow or Giancarlo Esposito in here personally. I've got Jonathan Pryce, for the old reliable The Crown, and I've got actually Michael Imperioli for The White Lotus, just kind of a return to an old favorite from The Sopranos. And also on the bubble, you've got Jonathan Banks for Better Call Saul, Tom Hollander for The White Lotus, Will Sharp for The White Lotus, and Stellan Skarsgård for Andor. So, Marcus, do you think this could be like 4 White Lotus for Succession?
I don't think so. I right now I have 3 Succession, but I'm going to add Alexander Skarsgård after this chat, and I think I'll take out Jonathan Pryce. But I do think Matt Smith, if anyone from House of the Dragon will get in, it's going to be Matt Smith. I think he has the best chance of any of his co-stars in any of the categories. And John Lithgow is a favorite. I mean, I think he's getting in. Giancarlo Esposito is interesting to me because I think he was only in 2 episodes of this last eligible part 2 of Better Call Saul. But I don't know if the voters know that or not. I think they just will see his name and say, "Oh, I love him on this, and I love him on Mandalorian too." But, I'm going to vote him for a nomination. So I don't think his lack of screen time is going to hurt him, but I have him down in 8th place just because I think he is possibly on the bubble. But to win, I have Matthew McFadden, and I was predicting Kieran Culkin to win this until he switched to lead, which is interesting.
But now you have them winning anyway, so
yeah, I have them both winning now.
I've taken Giancarlo Esposito out of my predictions before, and it was a mistake. So I'm gonna leave him in there. I don't want to make that mistake again. I am pretty much going with the odds, although I do have 1, 2, 3. I do have 4 Succession nominees in there. I think it's going to be a huge windfall for Succession. I think they're going to get a ton of nominations. I do think someone else from the White Lotus is getting in. I don't know who it is. I have F. Murray Abraham, even though he is, arguably one of the smaller roles. He is definitely the biggest legend of the cast. But right now I have Theo James getting in. He just plays this snarky, winking devil, the one that we love to hate. And it reminds me of the Jake Lacey character from the year prior, and he was nominated, and nobody thought he was going to get in. Like, very few people were predicting him. So I have Theo James getting in, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was someone else. Above him in the odds are both Tom Hollander and Will Sharp, and Michael Imperioli. So there's a lot of White Lotus options. And maybe that'll hurt them too. If there's so many, because they're all great. So if people are juggling between these 5 supporting actors, it might not pan out well for them.
Yeah, this is the kind of category where I feel like it's the deepest bench, where you could go almost 20 actors down and still find plausible nominees.
If anyone gets all 8 right, like, props to you. You deserve a medal.
I mean, Elijah Wood in Yellow Jackets, he's in 18th place. It's a strong category.
Also a strong category is Best Drama Guest Actress, where the frontrunner to win is Harriet Walter for Succession. Melanie Linsky following her for The Last of Us, then Cherry Jones for Succession, Anna Torv, The Last of Us, Fiona Shaw for Andor, and Hayam Abbas for Succession. I've got another Succession avalanche here. I've got 4 Succession actresses in here, with Harriet Walter winning, and my other 2 are Melanie Linsky and Fiona Shaw. And then also with a shot in on the bubble in our odds behind Hayam Abbas are Hope Davis for Succession, who I have in, Betsy Brandt for Better Call Saul, Claire Foy for The Crown. She's done this before. Storm Reed for The Last of Us, Nico Parker for The Last of Us. So this category runs pretty deep. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I'm just going with Succession and The Last of Us all the way through. I'm actually going with the odds in a little bit different order, but I do not predict Fiona Shaw. I just don't trust Andor and what Emmy voters are going to do with that show. So I know that Andor fans love her performance, but I don't know if they're watching that. So I'm pulling out Fiona Shaw for Hope Davis, and just another Succession actress in the bunch.
I refused to predict Harriet Walter in guest actress and James Cromwell in guest actor until they appeared on the show, because I wanted to make sure they have a good role, they have, a standout scene, and they both did in that funeral episode. And so and then Harriet also appeared, had a lot of scenes in the finale too. So I put them both in as winners for these 2 categories. But second place for this one, I have Hayam Abbas, who, she's so good. Everything she does. I wanted more of her character throughout the seasons. Melanie Linsky, I have in 3rd for Last of Us. I mean, she's so good in this show. Cherry Jones, Succession, is 4th. Anna Torv. Where are my Fringe fans at? Anna Torv never got in for Fringe. I'm so excited to see her potentially get a nomination. And then sixth place, Betsy Brandt. That may be more of a hope prediction for me, but she was so overlooked for years and years and years on Breaking Bad. And I love that she popped up in the finale. And she had actually a really good scene. And it's possible. I mean, I have her in sixth place, but she could definitely get nominated.
Now for Best Drama Guest Actor, we've got leading our odds, Nick Offerman, The Last of Us, who I'm also predicting to win. Then Murray Bartlett for The Last of Us. They co-starred in the episode Long Time. That was just really mostly just the two of them. Then you've got James Cromwell for Succession, Bryan Cranston for Better Call Saul, Andy Serkis for Andor, and Arian Moayed for Succession. I've got the Succession waterfall again. It must be said that Succession broke the record last year for the most acting nominations for a show in a single year. I think this year it submitted more actors, and I think it's going to break its own record this year. So I've got the three Succession men in there: Cromwell, Moayed, and also Justin Kirk, who's on the bubble, and then John Grease for The White Lotus. Because I feel like if The White Lotus is on the ballot, don't bet against it. Then also on the bubble for us, we've got Aaron Paul for Better Call Saul, Giancarlo Esposito for The Mandalorian. He has never not been nominated for The Mandalorian. He's been nominated in supporting and guest, and he's back in guest this year. Got Lamar Johnson for The Last of Us, Michael McKean, sorry, for Better Call Saul. Not Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman on Better Call Saul. What do you think about this category, Marcus?
James Cromwell is my number one pick on this, even though I agree with everyone in the world that Nick Offerman gives the performance of his career and deserves the Emmy. Something's telling me that they're not going to give a zombie show an acting award, but I have Nick in second, so I'm not completely, discounting him. I have Murray Bartlett in third. I think there could be a vote split there, even though Nick is the one that got all of the buzz when the episode aired. And then I've got the two Better Call Saul guys reprising their roles from Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul. Sixth place, John Grease, who was the only guest star for The White Lotus submitted. I think that will help him kind of standing alone there on that ballot. But yeah, James Cromwell, that speech at the church was really, really good. And if not for the love of Succession, I wouldn't be predicting him. But we know, like we've all been saying for the past half hour, this show's going to dominate. It could win every acting category, except for maybe supporting actress, where I think Jennifer Coolidge has that. But it could win 5 of the 6, which didn't The Crown win 6 for 6 last year?
The Crown actually also went 5 for 6. Okay. Surprisingly, the one it lost was drama guest actor to Courtney B. Vance for Lovecraft Country, which was one of the only awards that went to Lovecraft Country. So I was thrilled that show won something. But The Crown won everything else.
It's interesting when you see someone like Courtney B. Vance win that for Lovecraft Country, because it does say something about voters. It's like maybe they're not sweeping across the board all the time. So that was very interesting. I think Nick Offerman's going to win. I think there'll be like a online revolt if he doesn't win. People are very passionate about that episode. I think it's the only episode that could even stand a chance at competing in a writing category against Succession. I don't know that I would necessarily vote for it to win that, but it's just one of the best episodes on television of the year. And he's definitely the standout over Murray Bartlett. I wouldn't expect too much vote splitting there. But then I do have James Cromwell, Bryan Cranston for Better Call Saul, Arian Moayed for Succession. And I'm not sure. Right now I have Aaron Paul, just because Andy Serkis again, Andor, I don't know about that show if where I stand on it. And Marcus, you're making me think about John Grease and The White Lotus, if that just is one of those other shows that just they can't get enough of.
Yeah, I don't think John would have had a shot in supporting it all. I'm glad he went down to guest and he was the only one eligible. He was in less than half of the episodes. The Aaron Paul thing, are you guys predicting Aaron Paul? I forget.
Not me.
That one is one I'm considering taking out because
I have him in right now, but I don't know if I want to keep him there.
yeah, I'm just not sure. I mean, compared to what Betsy Brandt did, Betsy just was giving all sorts of emotions and giving an Emmy speech about her dead husband, and Aaron Paul was just kind of there for fun and for fan service. And I don't know, I'm thinking of removing him. We'll see.
Just to go back to Courtney B. Vance and Lovecraft Country a little bit, I will say though that that show was at least nominated for quite a few things, correct? So
yeah, it had a bunch.
Right. So it's not like they weren't seeing it. It just didn't win a lot. So I take a little bit away from the point I was making earlier.
And it must be noted that Nick Offerman, leading our odds right now, this would be his first acting nomination at the Emmys. He's been nominated for reality host, but he was never nominated for Parks and Rec or any of his, drama or limited series work since then. So this even him getting nominated would be quite a big deal.
I will say 2,145 of our participants predict him to win. And in second place, in terms of those numbers, 194 people predict James Cromwell. So
I'm one of them. I'm one of the
that's
one.
a lot of people who think Nick Offerman's going to win.
And a lot of people have been wrong before.
At the Gold Derby Awards, I voted for Nick Offerman, just so everyone knows he was my pick to win.
And everyone knows those are the awards voted on by people who actually watch television. So.
Oh, our awards are going to be great. You got to check those out. Our nominations come out July 11th, Tuesday morning, the morning before Emmy nominations. So everyone make sure you tune in for that and catch those nominations, and then vote for who you want to win our TV awards.
Yeah, and we will see you after the nominations. We'll be discussing everything we got right, everything they got wrong, because again, perfect 100%. Quote me on that, and we will see you then.